The Tavistock Gender Clinic, which is basically the biggest clinic in this country for dealing with transgender referrals for children, has basically shut. And it is shut after this damning report has come out, this Cass report, who is Dr. Hilary Cass, I think, and she has basically been looking into how they've been behaving over the last 10 years. It's hard to... There's a lot of history going on here, but essentially they have been putting children onto puberty blockers, and this is now said to be not... So they've closed it from being found not safe for children, because what they haven't been doing is actually testing, seeing what the effects might be, what any side effects might have been, seeing what the outcomes might have been. And now we're having a bunch of young people coming out as detransitioning after being on these puberty blockers, after having surgery, and then going, actually, I made a mistake. There's anybody who's interested in this, I would highly recommend listening to this BBC podcast, Nolan Investigates Stonewall. And there's this one episode where just the whole hour is interviewing this guy called Dr. David Bell. Now, he's the whistleblower who worked for like 30 years at this centre. And basically, he calls out what happened and how it transitioned over the last sort of 10 years or so, where you had basically a handful or 100 sort of mostly young boys presenting with this transgender condition to going increasing like 9,000% to mostly teenage girls, and how it's indicating that it's a fad, and how they've pushed forward an ideology, whereas what he talks about is you don't just go... Now when they go into the centre, they'd be like, you're trans, here are your pills, here's the surgery, here's whatever, whereas usually people are coming with underlying conditions. So it's almost like conversion therapy into that condition and just affirming them, and that's been the problem. So it's closed, but there is good news, because there are obviously transgender children, and there are people presenting with transgender issues, young kids, and now they're going to be opening more centres, but they're going to be focusing, it looks like, more on the mental health aspects of it, rather than just going, here are these drugs, which more and more, and they said for years, no, there were no side effects, They didn't look into any of it, and now it turns out, guess what? There are loads of side effects of these puberty blockers.
Well, the report says that more research is needed, so I guess...
Yeah, but the research they've done, and they've done in other countries, have shown that there is massive side effects in terms of, like, they need things to be confirmed, but all the early indications are puberty blockers stop your brain developing the right way. It's 100% been proven that it hollows out your bones, essentially, so it also has sexual ramifications in terms of being able to achieve sexual gratification.
So by hollows out bones as well, you're talking about calcium levels in bones, rather?
Not actual hollow, but basically brittle bones, essentially. Yeah. So there are a bunch of side effects for what was told were, no, just put them on puberty blockers, it'll be fine.
Radu, your take on this rather...
Yeah, the science apparently isn't in. It's never in. It's never finished. That's the problem with the science. I do feel like we do need, there are 9,000 people untransitioning, but we need to wait and see how many of the 9,000 people are going to...
Well, it's 9,000% it's increased, basically. So it's not 9,000 people, it's like 9,000%.
Of the people, I understand. But basically, what percentage of those people that detransitioned are going to undetransition?
Well, they're saying actually...
maybe in 5 years they're going to decide, no, I want to go back to the original plan.
Well, exactly. And by then, and if they have been on these puberty blockers and they have then gone on to cross hormones and whatever, then it's too late, which is why you're having now the first case launched against the NHS, but also there's going to be more and more so of young people coming out, realising it was like depression or mental health or autism, all these underlying factors that aren't being explored or haven't been explored at the Tavistock Centre, and now they're coming out and they're going, I made a mistake, and it's too late. It's arguably the biggest medical scandal of our times, and it's going to become more and more so.
I think with more research being needed, that's the way that most science conversations end with more research needed, and that seems to be the one on this.